Caravan team, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to be here. I don't have a structured speech, but I will talk to you about how we could do some work and what work we are doing for the empowerment of women. I divide this work into two. One is the defense and safety of women, and the second is the actual financial empowerment and the ability to open doors for them. In defense, I'm going to give you a few things that we have done. One is, when I became minister, we had a huge number of people coming in. It was just post the Nirbhaya time, and many people were very perturbed about women coming out and what they could do if they were stalked, followed, molested, hurt. And so they brought me solutions like wear necklaces that you can press if you're being followed, or bracelets, or rings. These are really all-round cosmetic things that we could press that we wore. I didn't agree with that. I don't think that we are jailbirds, that we wear a sign of identification around our necks, lose it, get another. So what we have done is we've invented the world's first panic button, which will become operative on 1st January. All the cell phones in India will have a button on them, because most people now have cell phones, even in the villages. And they will have a panic button. If you have already bought a cell phone, which of course you have, you can go to any of the people who've sold it to you, and they have to put the button onto it. I'm also working towards, we've commissioned a new kind of device, an app, in which before the police come, because they take their own time, that button will alert 10 people closest to you, complete strangers who have phones. And they can then, if they choose, help you before the police arrive. So this is one technical solution that we're trying to give. The second is OneStop Centres. Now, this year, we will make 175 centres, which is not a lot, because left to me, I would make more than 1,000 of them. But it's the first beginning in India. These one-stop centers are very practical centers, and wherever we have made them so far, they're being used, unfortunately, a great deal. What happens is, a woman goes to a police station and she feels embarrassed. And the police don't leave any door shut in which they can open to embarrass her. So she doesn't go, she doesn't report. If she does report, then the case takes so long, and she has to go to court so many times that at some point she becomes a nuisance to her own family. And they start co-sowing her about the whole world has got to know, and why couldn't you keep quiet, and how will you get married, and all sorts of reactions. So this one-stop center is a place where you can go. You will be attended to immediately. In fact, if you ring up, an ambulance will be sent. A vehicle will be sent for you. If you have children, you can bring them with you. It caters to everything, from domestic violence to molestation to stalking to just about anything. And you go there, we have a lawyer, we have a doctor, we have a nurse, we have a psychologist, and all of them will take on your case and fight it. They will heal you or try and heal you. You can stay there for a few days if you want. Now, the first center started in Raipur, and as I said, unfortunately again, about 200 women come there to begin with every day. Hopefully this will ease up over time. But it's the first time that we've got a center dedicated to women, which takes immediate action. We follow that on a day-to-day basis on what is happening in each center. The third thing that we have had a great deal of success with, which I didn't think would happen, is Beti Bachao. When I became minister, the Prime Minister invented this slogan, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. And he asked me, he said, I just want you to increase the male-female ratio in the worst areas in India. And I had no idea how to go about it. And I didn't think it would work even. Because when you change a male-female ratio, it means changing the whole of a patriarchal society. Why do people not have girls? Why do they not let them live? It's not even just the men who decide. Very often it's the dadi in the house who decides whether her daughter-in-law will abort a female or not. So why is it? 3, 4 things. One is dowry, because the family feels, oh God, if there's we'll be saving up our whole lives. Second is ki beti parai hai. That means we'll be saving up, we pay for her, and then she goes to somebody else's house, and instead of being a slave in ours, she could be a slave in theirs. And the third is that they're not safe, even if there's no dowry, and there's no parai business. The third is really a kind of attitude that I can't protect this little girl, so maybe it's better not to let her live. And this exists especially in violent areas prone to a great deal of criminal violence, including that, or Kashmir, for instance. Kashmir has been really one strong area where girls simply don't get born. But the fourth and really annoying reason for girls to be aborted is India is divided into East and West. The East is respectful, believe it or not, much poorer, but respectful. Girls are born, boys are born, they both get the same treatment. This side, which is upwardly mobile, especially areas where there are bureaucrats, where there are rich business people, it's a pandemic, virtually, of abortions, killing, starving. It's amazing how much violence is done in the West upon women, upon little girls. And the reason for that is because that family wants only one child or two. And they want exactly what they want. So if they want a girl, they'll have a girl. But if they want a boy, then no matter how many times they have to abort the fetus, they will. Or what they have to do, they will do it. So we had to combat all these things. And we designed a program that was simple, didn't involve a great deal of money, involved the local district administration, but also involved the panchayats, and we turned it into a blitz. And I'm really happy to say that Indian society is so plastic, so flexible, that within 1 year, we had started with areas that had 830 girls to 1,000 boys. That means huge amounts of killing. And what we got at the end of this was in 61 areas, in 62 areas, we did so remarkably well that we went up from 830 to 907, which means an entire sea change in your attitude towards girls, towards dowry, towards safety, towards respect, towards love, towards understanding that the girl will always be yours, even if she gets married 1,000 times. She will always be yours. So we did this. In the areas we didn't do well, which was about 38, those were again Kashmir. Parts where the district magistrate had been changed 3 times or 4 times, so there was nobody heading the program. These parts where no money had reached from our side to even give them the basic wherewithal to reach villages, to do anything. One of the simplest things we did, which really shamed the villages and made them react, was to put it in their face. Every panchayat in the districts that we chose had to put on the panchayat house the number of boys in the village and the number of girls, and just keep adding, subtracting as time went on, month by month by month. We also linked it to the PCP NDT doctors, technicians, so that they were involved in our program and they felt less pressured to tell people whether they were going to have a girl or a boy. Anyway, so now because of this success, we're working on the 38 is also doing well now. We've taken 61 more centers. So hopefully if we could do 161 constituencies in this country and change the demographic completely, that would really be one of, I hate to say this, but one of my achievements. while in office, and something that I'd be proud of. The other thing that we're working on in defense is trafficked women. Over 4 lakh women are taken out of their homes and taken either for prostitution or for forcible marriages, as they are in Haryana, because Haryana's demographic was so bad that they didn't have any women to marry. So they were literally getting them out of the northeast, getting them out of Uttarakhand, and bringing them into Haryana and having children by them. So one of the things that we have done, we found that one of the biggest culprits, if we were to call it culprit, are the railways. Now, the railways obviously are just simply carriers. So they are not going to be bothered with who is being carried and what is being carried. And therefore, this is often taken advantage of by people who understand the system. So what we've done is, and I'd like you to give me feedback, is that in every carriage across India, we have 4 posters, 4 or 5 or more posters, in which we have given 3 phone numbers and said, if you see a woman by herself or being trafficked, unhappy, not with her family, looks as if she's under pressure. If you see a child that is obviously not with his parents or with any known person, phone these numbers. And I'm happy to tell you that every month we get, I'm not happy to tell you, I must tell you, that we get over 2 lakh calls. 2 lakh calls is just incredible. Of course, some of them turn out to be fake, but we have caught a large number of trafficked women, trafficked children through this simple device. The other thing we've done is as you know, that we repaired the JJ Act, and anybody now 16 plus, it was very debatable, but with lots and lots of safeguards, we've made 16-year-olds also liable for heinous crimes. Then even small steps, 2 small steps that we've taken have had an impact. So, sometimes these impacts are not completely visible because you're not looking, but they change a system almost immediately. One of the things that we did was I announced, and I was really severely trolled for this, was that any woman on the net who is threatened with physical violence, because nowadays the net has become so abusive that you lose confidence. Instead of imparting information and helping us grow as a nation, it has become an area where everybody who literally doesn't make it in life sits at home and abuses everybody and anybody. It's really a medium for losers. I would put it as sharply as that, looking at the kind of awful filth on it. So you start off innocently enough, and you are appreciative, you share information, and then suddenly it all descends into abuse. Now, I can't stop the abuse. I don't have the power to stop the abuse. But certainly, we reached a point where women were complaining that they were being threatened with rape, with you come out of your house and we'll have you beaten up, we'll have your parents beaten up. So then we announced that any woman who is threatened with physical violence, this comes under the Act, and they should then immediately inform my ministry under it's called min, min-WCD at nic.in. And in the first few days, lots and lots of complaints came in. We analyzed those, and then we called in Facebook and Twitter and said that we are going to be working with you and the police to forward these and see that action is taken. I'm told, and you're most welcome to correct me if it's not true, I'm told that this part of abuse has gone down. Not just gone down, I'm not getting any shikayats over the last month, over the physical violence, over the threat to rape or kill. The second thing we did repair, which again you're welcome to correct me, was we worked for 2 years on this because they were so resistant in matrimonial columns. Now, it's not a small thing, but 1 crore people are on the columns. And sometimes it degenerates into the most obscene questions being asked, the most intrusive demands. And I saw several women came to see me who were on it, and then we worked with the matrimonial sites in the beginning were completely resistant. But now we've made a code which they have to adhere to, and any man on it has to come with an Aadhaar card and has to be vetted before he pretends to be somebody else, before we know that he's married or not married, because a lot of them on the matrimonial sites turned out to be predators. So this has been put right. One of the questions that has come up now, every day I get new challenges, and I try to think out of the box for many of them. One of the questions that has come up now, which I'd like you to debate on, is whether or not, because it's really an important question, whether or not to join the Hague Convention. The Hague Convention, to put it the simplest, is that if one of our Indians gets married and goes abroad, either to another Indian or to a foreigner, and there is domestic violence there, sometimes they have no option, because if the husband will not leave the house, if the police have to come again and again, the children are often taken away and put into social services, something that an Indian mother would never be comfortable with. So some of our women just run away and they come back here. There's one like that. Or now the point is, the Hague Convention, if we join it, demands that we send the women back to stand trial. And we have not joined it. So on one hand, a lot of countries have joined it because they say that, women should go back and sort it out and get a proper divorce, because the husbands then put cases on them in the countries that they are, in the UK, USA especially. So this is another thing we have to think about. Personally, in the beginning, when I was new, I thought we should join an international convention because we get protection. But as time has gone on, and I see the groups of women who come to see me, whose husbands have, beaten them up abroad, have taken away their passports, have left them completely vulnerable, have somehow scraped together the money and, secretly, and have come here and are in terrible, terrible fear most of their lives. I just wonder whether we should join it or not. Maybe you can think about it. It's something, one of the things I've tried to do since I've joined the ministry is to bring in new conversations. Should we have a PCP NDT Act? Or should we actually, one of the biggest conversations was, should we have the act, or should we make another kind of way of thinking in which, as soon as the person becomes pregnant, everybody knows what sex it is. And then so it's not that easy to abort. And at the end of 9 months, the panchayat checks out whether the child has been born or not born. Now this led to a lot of debate in the beginning, and a lot of women's groups were upset about this, because they immediately thought the worst of India, that the minute a woman is pregnant and she says that it's a girl, then everybody will kill the girl. But they've come round to this new way of thinking, because the PCP NDT Act doesn't allow you to find the sex out. But there are instruments now available. There is technology available in which you can have a blood test and find out whether you're having a girl or a boy. Now, once that blood test goes onto the net, then there will be no need for anybody to even go to a place to find out. So why not make another kind of system which protects the mother and the child? So this was one conversation. The second one was, on different things, but now the Hague thing is something we should start thinking about. Then we have got an act coming up, hopefully it'll come up in winter, which again is the first act of its kind on anti-trafficking. This, for the first time, takes the onus of the victim, strangely enough. If a prostitute, for instance, has been trafficked from Nepal, we may never find the trafficker. But until we find the trafficker, until we get him to court, the victim stays in jail. And this can go up to 2 years and 3 years and 4 years. Or if she's not in jail, she goes to a Nari Niketan, which is really not good. And she stays there forever. So we've completely, made an act in which we have used all the women's groups who are involved in trafficking, involved in anti-trafficking, and like Sunita Krishna, and use them to develop an act which will protect women. So these are some of the things that we have done. The coming to empowerment, there are a huge number of achievements, but I'm going to give you two that you might like to think about. I have a program called STEP. It's the only one now outside the skill development ministry. And it's about anybody, any NGO that wants to train 200 women at a time on skills that will get them immediate jobs or immediate money. I give up to 30 lakh rupees for it. Now we get thousands of applications, many of which are fake, many of which are boring, like silai kadhai. I'm fed up with silai kadhai. It reminds me of those old Amitabh Bachchan movies in which the mother is doing silai all the time until her son grows up to become a policeman. But there are many, many things. I'm open to women doing organic farming, women becoming barefoot vets, women becoming, learning different skills. In my own constituency, I'm teaching them how to become mistris, because there's such a shortage, and I'm sure women would be much, much more detailed about it. So we've got a course going on from the 20th on Raj Mistris, just for women. So if anybody wants to take advantage of this, you're most welcome. The second thing is, I've started something called the Mahalo Hut. And I have about 3 lakh people on it already. And I would urge you this Diwali, if instead of buying stuff from outside, if you could get into the Mahalo Hut and place your orders through it instead of Amazon, for instance, it would benefit them a lot. And the reason why I say this is because any woman, what we've done is, it's a free site. Any woman from any village, anywhere in India, who makes anything, from laddus to services like mehndi or anything else, can put her stuff on the hut, on this computer, on this site. And she puts her name, address, and everything, and then the seller gets through to her and buys her stuff. We've had about 50 lakhs worth of sale, which is nothing compared to Amazon's daily sales. But I'm very proud of it, because the women who are on it are the poorest of the poor, who are trying to take their first baby steps towards entrepreneurship. We are holding workshops for them. We are going to teach them packaging. We teach them financial skills. And ultimately, what do I envision? What do I want? The aim is that we have a FICCI. We have an ASOCHAM. We have, what else do we have? A CII. And in all these are predominantly male. And the women are usually the leftover parts, FLO, your Annies, as in Rotarians. And they get to do the good bits like providing the lunches, escorting their husbands, looking good, and making connections amongst themselves. But these 3 associations influence the government's financial policy. But where is the women bit? Where is the takat of the women, which says, make this gender more, make this, policy more gender neutral or gender equal? We don't have anybody. It can't be a single minister bleating on. It has to be a whole generation of really strong, organized women. So what I want to do out of this out of this e-hut, ultimately each one will get 1 vote. This is how we're structuring it. That vote will elect their bosses, and ultimately, it's a pyramid in which we will have a women's entrepreneurship council right on top, and they will be as important as FICCI and CII one day. I'm giving it 2 years. I've been working on it now for 2 years. It's taken us 2 years to get to this point. And now we're going to give them votes and let them vote for women who will come here, represent them, tell us what we're doing wrong, get trained, so that over the years we can generate entrepreneurs from the ground level and give them power. If we can't give them political power, because as Anandji said, we're 12% in parliament, and I don't know if that situation will ever improve, but we can give them fiscal power by creating a council like this. So these are some of the things that we do. I have, a few things in mind, but let's see when they come by. I'm now going, as you know, one of the things that we've done recently, which really was the first thing that I thought of when I became minister, was giving them 6 months pregnancy leave. Now, this was passed by the Rajya Sabha, and we were so thrilled because it took a year. It's not my ministry that passes it, it's the Labour Ministry. Unfortunately, it came up on the last day of the Lok Sabha, and which adjourned at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So it didn't come up. It was listed for 2 o'clock. So hopefully it'll come by in December. Now, even over this, it started a debate. People who own companies say, why should we employ women? The women, the purpose of this exercise was really to make children healthier. I have to say that it wasn't really about women. It was about children. If women are given the liberty to breastfeed and to relax, to do it at their own pace, to stay at home, to take that time to bond with their children, it makes children much, much healthier. According to UNICEF, WHO, and all the other organizations that have studied breastfeeding, if we can breastfeed for 7 months, then the child will not get so many diseases later. It just improves their entire resistance and immunity. So the government up till now was thinking in terms of having creches in workplaces, which I'm afraid I don't agree with, because I would never bring my child to a creche. There are 10 other children, who knows what bimaris he will get. Half my mind will be on work, half of it will be dashing off every 10 minutes. But I need that time alone with my baby. So we asked for 8 months, and we compromised at 6 months. And hopefully it'll start from next year. But again, we've had companies saying that we'll never employ women. Why not? If you don't employ women, you'll lose the smarter sex. And I'm crossing my fingers, that some women don't make a mockery of this and destroy it. There's that, every day of my life, I get trolled on my Facebook saying I'm anti-men, which is ridiculous, because nobody can be anti-men or anti-women or anything. But why? Because so many women have misused that section which, on dowry, that section on which gives you the ability to complain about your husband, your fiancé, and saying that they asked you for dowry and then immediately they get put into jail. Or complain about beating. And it's a few women who have done this have really led to now an increasing irritation with men saying, remove that section, remove that section. I think it's section 498, right? Yeah, 498A. Now, even yesterday, I had gone somewhere and I literally got almost attacked by a man, a doctor, a really nice man, who said, my son got engaged. And after he got engaged, we changed our minds. He changed his mind and he called off the engagement. And he said, now we have been slapped with a 1 crore saying that we asked them for 1 crore dowry. And the police have come to our house to arrest us. Now, hopefully, when we bring in this 6 months leave thing, I won't have women who get pregnant, hide it, go for a job, after 1 week, then announce that they're pregnant, and then take 6 months off, which is paid, and then after that get another job. So I really hope that we don't do this, because it will be difficult to sustain this if too many women do it. Anyway, I'd like to thank Mr. Nath for giving me this opportunity. Listening to long speeches early in the morning, I know must have been terrible, so please excuse me. I just thought I would throw some issues open for knowledge and for debate. Thank you. Anybody asking questions? Please go ahead. There's a mic coming to you. Okay, I'm just going to take 5 questions, okay? So whoever the first 5 hands are.
Hi, I really enjoyed your speech. My name is Jill Mill Breckenridge, and I wanted to just talk about the Hague Convention, the point you raised. I was married to an American, and we lived here in India. And I had the reverse. So my ex-husband has kidnapped my 4 children. I have not seen them for 4 years. And the fact that the Hague Convention...
So that's why I'm saying it's open for debate, because
yes,
if we had joined it, your husband would have to come back.
exactly. And
so
then
I don't know, that's why I'm saying there's sort of equal amount of misery on both sides. I don't know, which is why I've thrown it open. I'm sorry that happened to you.
It's life stuff, but I just wanted to raise my voice on that. Thank you.
Hurry up.
Hi, my name is Sanchita. This last bit that you spoke about how there are some women who misuse the law and take advantage of it. Do you think there is extra pressure on women to not do this? Because any law for that matter, there are always going to be people who misuse it. But do you think there's extra political attention and media attention on...
No, there's no extra. And in fact, whenever there's, whenever there's a lot of pressure on me or pressure on Rajaji, because the act doesn't come under me, it comes under the Home Ministry. But we stand very firm and we say that, look, some women misuse this, but it still gives women the only power they have. No woman wants to break up her family, no woman. She only does it in extremis. And therefore, she has to use whatever tools she can get to save herself. And sometimes these tools are just this act and nothing else. So there's no more pressure in this than there is in anything else. Come along.
Hi, it's Kalika. First of all, I appreciate the commendable efforts that your ministry has taken. But let's come to the point where you say that companies would be resistant to hire women because of 6 months maternity leave, which I understand from a business perspective, that they have to have revenue out of the people they're employing. But what about the other side of it? When it comes to paternity leave, and you make statements like, men will squander away paternity leave from holidays, and we don't advocate paternity leave. We are doing 2 things. One, we're reinforcing the gender roles that taking care of a child is a mother's job. Why is only mother need to bond with a child? Why doesn't a father need to bond with a child? And it happens in the initial year. Why do we not have any kind of paternity leave law? And I am sorry to say, but when I see my Ministry of Women and Child Welfare Minister opposing it, it's sad. It's just plain sad.
No,
and there are fathers who do that, who want to be there, but they don't have any support system.
Yes. No, I haven't opposed it or anything. Maybe it'll come as time goes on. I think what I made was a very flippant remark, which I shouldn't. Sometimes I just sort of, these are what is known as the throwaway remarks. But what I feel is that even now, there is leave available to men. If people would avail of that leave, then it would be good. But not just here. Even in America, in the US, when we did a study, we found less than 1% of men actually took any leave, paternity or otherwise. They have paternity leave abroad, they just don't take it. So, it will come. Let men show the intention. No laws are written in stone. It'll come. It'll come. No, I'm not giving a guarantee. Again, I'm sort of being philosophical that show the intent. And certainly, even now, you can take 15 days leave when your baby is born. I would like to know if any men have taken it. Any men here have taken it? 1 person. 2. 2 people. I rest my case. Yeah, go on.
Thank you, ma'am, for covering a range of topics. I'm doing my PhD on childcare arrangements of parents in the IT sector, especially the corporate sector. So in my study, I'm really seeing the need for creches, especially when women exhaust the leave, whether it's 6 months and 8 months, and some Indian industry have gone overboard and given it up to 1 year. So what is the, I was surprised when you said that you were not advocating for creche in the
No, I'm
workplace.
not saying that. Creches are in the law anyway. It's not that I've not put it into the law. I'm just saying that when a child is really tiny, women deserve to be at home with the child. They deserve, and they should be. Bringing a little 1-month-old into a creche is really full of nightmares for the woman. She comes by bus. How to expose that child? You know, it's full of many other problems. So I was just looking at it from their point of view. We're not looking at rich people who go to work and in a wonderful atmosphere. I'm talking about the woman typist who comes, or the woman clerk who comes by bus. And for her, she should have the option first to stay at home. And then when the child is old enough, then she can take a call on whether she wants to bring the child to a creche or not. I've not said no to creches. Creches will be there. They're part of the law.
And ma'am, also are you
But
looking at...
we also have Anganwadi creches.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
those have to be strengthened and used so that women who work and can leave their children in their village itself, in their community itself, with known Anganwadi creches.
And also, ma'am,
Sorry,
are you
one
looking
question,
at
please.
the
One
quality of the interaction in the creches?
Sorry?
The quality in the creches, is the law thinking about it?
Once let the creches come up, then we'll have a look. There are parameters given, but let's see how they work. Okay.
Thank you,
that's it.
everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
That's the time we have for questions. Thank you, madam. Thank you.